Excerpts from Ancient Forests of the Pacific Northwest by Elliott Norse. This is from Chapter 4 on the biological values of ancient forests. In the 1970s, paleontologists in Texas discovered fossil bones of the largest aerial animal ever known, a flying reptile called Quetzalcoatlus northropi. This flying dinosaur, whose wings spanned perhaps 40 feet, was the king of the skies in the Cretaceous era. Fascinated by this huge creature, in 1980, a talented team of aeronautical engineers decided to create a working half-size scale model with a grant for $500,000, $500,000, sponsorship from the Smithsonian Institute's Air and Space Museum. In May 1986, near Washington, D.C., they demonstrated to the media in a crowd of 300,000 people what they had achieved. Seconds after the model was released from the tow line, it crashed to the ground and broke. I do not recount this tale to mock those who boldly took up the challenge, but rather to point out that our best minds could not match something that nature did more than 65 million years ago. Something that not only knew how to fly better, but also gathered its own fuel and reproduced itself. Nature's produced an incredible diversity of living things. The diversity of life is a miracle, but one that now faces its gravest threat. The Earth is fast losing its biological diversity. There have been inklings of this for a long time, but it has only been since 1979, when Norman Mayer's The Sinking Ark was published, that awareness about the rapid loss of species has spread beyond a handful of scientists to the general public and decision makers. Although the media pays far more attention to sports, movie stars, stock market swings, and military adventures, most thoughtful people realize that these phenomena are transitory. In contrast, extinction is forever. The Earth will never know again the thunderous wing beats of billions of passenger pigeons or the fluttering wing beats of a Circe's blue butterfly. If we do not act, the hushed wing beats of the northern spotted owls will likely vanish as well. But the problem goes much farther. The world is now or will shortly be losing living things at a rate without precedent since the disaster that eliminated the dinosaurs 65 million years ago. We were not around at the last mass extinction, but as the cause of nearly all recent extinctions, we have the power to stop this one. Why should we? In a world where terrorists, movie stars, illegal drugs, pandemics, and mortgage payments dominate our concerns, why should we burden ourselves with yet another? Why does it matter whether bugs, fishes, pandas, or rainforests continue to exist? There are really two answers. One, the ethical argument, is persuasive for many people, but regrettably not for most. The second answer, however, is utilitarian, based solely on our own self-interest. The living things of this earth are our resources and life support systems. Every bite of food you eat comes from living things. Every sip of water you drink has become cleansed by living things. The oxygen in your every breath comes from living things. Humankind is utterly dependent on biological diversity. And it is not just individual organisms and species that we depend on, it is whole ecosystems. The organized study of the interactions of living things and their environment, the science of ecology, was born about the same time that Euro-Americans settled the West Side and came into its own only in this century. The vast majority of relationships among the living things are as yet unexplored. Everywhere we look, ecologists see miraculously intricate interactions that affect humans. Every ecologist has favorite examples. The following is one of mine. Some years ago, the University of Wisconsin's Stanley Temple, 1977, noted that Calvaria major, an endemic tree that had once covered the island of Mauritius in the Indian Ocean, was almost extinct, with only 13 remaining. Until the age of European exploration, Mauritius had no native people, but was home to a gigantic, more than turkey-sized flightless pigeon, the dodo, whose name has become synonymous both for stupidity and extinction. Dodos, having evolved without mammalian predators, seem stupid because they neither fought nor ran away. When Portuguese and Dutch sailors first encountered them, in the 1500s. By all accounts, dodos were nearly inedible, but the sailors made great sport of clubbing them to death. The last dodo was gone by 1680. Fucking nuts. Temple noted that this date coincided with the age of the Calvaria trees. On a hunch, he took Calvaria seeds and, lacking a dodo, force-fed them to the next best thing, a turkey. The seeds passed through the turkey's gizzard and, when planted, germinated. The first Calvaria seeds in more than 3 centuries. The great trees had all but disappeared because the dispersal agents needed to abrade their seed coats had been exterminated. Living things are connected in ways that we have scarcely begun to understand.